and we just don't feel like going. But we force ourselves to go for a better and brighter future, right? But have you ever felt dumb in class? Or was too scared to voice your opinion? From grade school to now, we all have to follow the teacher's certain agenda in order to pass. Sometimes you are either bored, confused, or afraid to be in class. But we are expected to follow the teacher's steps to have an answer to every problematic solution. So, in kindergarten, I've been told and taught to follow society. And I was 4 then and had a creative mind. So I did what I was told, color within the lines. I colored within the girl's hair in the coloring book. But then again, Miss K came over to me and said, go to timeout. And I was like, why? And she was like, because you colored your hair purple. There's no such thing as purple hair. When really, you can dye your hair purple right now, you know. Okay, but anyway, focus so much on pleasing authority instead of having an open mind. I'm sure all of you have sat in class of being bored, confused, or afraid. And based on the audience analysis, most of you felt dumb by a teacher because they embarrassed you. Or the teacher didn't even teach and you didn't even understand what they're talking about. There are reasons why students feel like they are failures because of what authority figures have done to them. So today I will be going over the 3 causes to failure, the education systems and the way to teach, and intelligence and test taking. Now I will discuss the 3 causes to failure. So, fear. According to John Holt, who wrote a novel about how children fail, he says that teachers make students feel confused, bored, and afraid. And actually, all students dislike school. When a child makes a mistake, they're afraid of teachers. They're afraid of being corrected, and they're afraid of being looked down upon. Sometimes, teachers also make them feel that they're superior to them because they want them to do what they want them. And their disappointment of hopes and expectations. They're afraid of disappointing their family members, their parents, because if you don't get a good score, or you'll be looked down upon in your family. Boredom. So, school limits their intelligence and capabilities and talents, and we don't really want to stay in a class that's boring. We just don't focus. So, John Holt explains that if their class was interesting, we'd understand things better. Lastly, John Holt idealizes confused, when we just don't understand what they're talking about. When you're sitting in a lecture and you're like, I don't get this. Even when I just read the book, I just don't get it. You just want to understand it. So, Life in School, a comic strip perception by Matt Groening. So, Matt Groening uses the idea of teachers and students. The teacher goes and says, now class, who can tell me the purpose of what we have learned today? And the student's thinking in his head, to be dull little obedient sheep, to regard those who are different with suspicion and contempt. And later, the student replies and says, today we learned the importance of good citizenship, civic pride, and keeping our desks tidy. We are expected to give a reasonable answer of what the teacher wants to hear. Now we'll be going over the education system's way of learning. So, according to William Lovak, the 6th grade teacher in Pennsylvania, he says that the real learning comes from experience of the world by having creativity and curiosity. He refers to everyone of being a baby. They fail repeatedly to accomplish to learn how to speak or walk. But then again, a baby has a learning potential. He also idealizes that teachers' image of education system is to accept kids to pass by supposedly progressing. Not really understanding the concept fully, but to a certain area where they just understand partially. Teachers follow school system's orders to make their school better by test scores, and sometimes leave hints to students instead of letting the students think for themselves to have the right answer. So, in Matt Groening again, school is hell. A comic strip perception, how the teacher views his ideas of education. So, again, the teacher goes, welcome to school, students. Would you like your education the quick way, or would you like it spread out over a dozen years? Of course, everyone wants the quick way, right? So, the teacher goes, first, learning has nothing to do with life. Learning is passive. It must always be tedious. So don't sass back. back. You're all basically worthless little creeps, fit only to take orders. So it shows that the teacher actually speaks about the education system, but students have to just deal with it, and there's nothing to do about it. Now I will discuss the meaning of what it is to be intelligent and test scores. So, Dr. Ronald Edmonds of Harvard Graduate School of Education, he claims that when a child asks many questions, do not be annoyed. When they are curious, they search for an answer and how it adapts to real-life situations, and that is intelligence. It is not the ability to get a high score, not a matter of how much we know, but knowing from a situation or a problem. And according to Garden article, constant testing demotivates pupils. Motivation shouldn't be able to feel forced to learn, because when you're forced, you try to get things done without actually learning it. Low scores can make you feel discouraged, but it shouldn't be based on being dumb or not. Everyone is actually smart. So I've discussed the 3 reasons why students fail of being bored, confused, and afraid. The education system's way of teaching and learning and the reality of it, and what intelligence means. So, in conclusion, school doesn't have to measure on how much you know by an exam score. It is, however, choosing to adapt the given knowledge and apply it to situations. Just as William Lovax had explained that a baby constantly fails to learn to succeed. Just as we were once babies, we have the potential and the ability to learn how to walk and talk. The best way of learning is not by a school system, but a system we create for ourselves. You are not dumb, you have potential. Don't ever let authority bring you down, but don't ever underestimate someone's capability as well. Be curious, be creative, and don't ever feel like you're dumb by a test score. We are all intelligent in many ways. But you can study if you want to, or aim for that high score. We all learn differently, but don't ever think you are a failure. Thank you.